I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a bag.
What's up? You are now listening to FY the podcast, and I'm your host, Hassan Thomas, along with Remy, and we are here to share tools on how millennials can budget, save, invest, and understand student debt and credit to achieve financial freedom. If you're a high school student, college student, or someone who's interested in gaining more financial insight, this podcast is for you.
I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna give me a bag. I'm tryna.
What's up, my FY Fly folks out there? How y'all doing? I hope y'all doing all right. Welcome to the FY Fly podcast. My name is Hassan Thomas, aka the kid that did and the man that can, baby. And today, we're gonna be chopping up with author, TED Talk speaker, and business builder and investor, Mr. Beez, man. How you doing, boss? How you doing?
Hey, my guy. I'm good, man. I'm good, bro. I'm happy to be here. It's a pleasure. I love what y'all are doing, and I look forward to talking more about what I do with buying businesses.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. Because really, I'm super happy to have you here. Because here at FY Fly, man, we really like to skip the fluff and get right into the good stuff, man. So we want to start with building a business first. Like, we want to get that game, and then we want to get into the acquiring businesses using OPM, aka other people's money. What's the first tip or piece of game that you can give someone who just wants to start a new business?
So, I get that question a lot, right? People come to me and they be like, Beez, I want to start a new business, and I don't know what to get into. I really want to follow my passion. I'm passionate about this, blah, blah, blah. And the first thing I say to people is, listen, I love that you want to follow your passion, but to be honest, can your passion pay the bills? Right?
So I always ask.
You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing that you got to think about, because then maybe what you should focus on is a business model that's already proven model that you could get cash flowing first, then use that cash flow to fund your passion. Right? Now, I got the cheat code, because when you buy a business, it don't matter about your passion. You could jump right into it because you're getting into something that already got revenue and all of that, and history, employees, all of that. So you get that cheat code, and now you can follow your passion right off the the beginning. But when you're starting off, you got to find something that's going to cash flow, and you got to follow your mentors that maybe you paid a mentor to teach you something, and why you're not following the exact model that they gave you if it's something that can bring you that success. You feel me? So that's the first thing that I would say. But if you do decide, I'm going to go and just build from scratch, listen, the first thing that you got to do is make sure that your business is ready to, you want to set it up in a way that it could be sold later. Because I think in our community, we forget to have an exit plan, right? You're building a business. What's the point of it? What you going to do with it, right? That's going to help you to make decisions to get towards that end goal. So you have to have some sort of exit plan, and you got to prepare yourself in order to get funding in the business in order to scale it. So those are the main things that I would tell people when they're starting off.
And that's what I really wanted. We definitely going to get into, acquiring business, because this is something that I've been thinking about. Like, man, I want to buy a boring business, or I've been thinking about this. I want to start like a boring business, like a cleaning business, or a cement washing, or whatever it's called. One of them type businesses.
Like the pressure washing.
Like you said, pressure washing. Yeah. So get that cash flowing, and then now I don't have to give away, now I can give away my passion, for free, and I don't have to charge people to do what I'm passionate about. So I can't wait to really dive into that.
Sure.
But starting off, I want to get, those small business owners and see how we can really help them, because I know one of the main reasons, like you've talked about, that businesses fail is due to lack of funding. Yeah. So, like, how can our small businesses really set ourselves up to really get that bag, whenever they're starting out?
So there's some basics first, right? I know a lot of people who, let's say you got a trucking company, they're going to have the name of the company, Beez Trucking Company, right? Yeah. And that's good and bad, right? But you got to know what season you're in order to know if it's better for you. If you're starting a company from scratch, then it's better to not have it so specific, right? Because if it's Beez Trucking Company, trucking is actually a restricted industry by banks. So when you go into a bank and then they say to you, oh, okay, you're starting a business. Awesome. What do you do? They're not saying that. They're not asking that just to, make small talk. They asking that because they want to know how to classify you. They want to know what SIC, NAICS code to assign to your business, and that's going to determine how much funding they give you. Trucking is restricted because it's a high risk industry. Them trucks on the road could kill people, right? So that's why they don't, they want to give you less money in that case. So for funding, that's going to be the first thing is how you set up your business, the name of it. You want to make sure that you have a professional email. Don't use no Gmail, right? You want to use, you want to get a website done, and you want to go, this is a little secret trick. You want to go and you could pay someone on like Fiverr.com, right? And tell them to go and register your company information on multiple sites, 411.com, Craigslist, whatever, where you just register the name so that when the underwriters of the financial institutions are, underwriting you, they look you up and they want to see, oh, okay, yeah, we see them registered. It's a legit business. They look at your business address. Oh, no, that's a home. They pull it up on Google Maps. Nah, this ain't no real business, right? So you want to get a virtual business address that's set up with an office or something. You want to do all those things to get prepared. But then here's the thing, and I know I can get deep into this. I'll keep it concise.
Hey, let's do it, man.
But the thing is, you may hear a lot of people out there that say the way to build business credit is you first start getting these vendor accounts, and you're going to get a bunch of things that you may not even need, but the purpose is to show that you can, pay off the credit through the business. So you get these tier 1
like
accounts,
net 30 accounts,
you buy some stuff from them, you're paying them net 30, but you pay them early, and then it gives you a good report on your Dun & Bradstreet credit profile, right? Then you go to tier 2, then tier 3. The problem with that is that strategy is a little bit outdated, or it's not giving the full information. That does help to build your paydex score, your business credit, but most of the institutions that you want to get business funding from, they don't care about your paydex score. They want you to PG, personal guarantee. So the first most important thing is fix your personal credit, right? We want to get business credit, but you need the PG on your personal credit, and then it'll be in your business.
I'm glad you clarifying that for folks, because there's a lot of misconceptions like, oh, do we need personal credit to get business credit? It's a lot of misconceptions. So thank you for clearing that
100%. It's not that you need it to get it, but any of the institutions you're going to really want, yes, you need it. Because if you did the other method, going through the tier 1s, tier 2s and whatnot, you know what you'll get? You'll get like a Home Depot credit card for sure without PG. You probably get like a Shell gas station card. So if you got a construction business, that works for you with a Home Depot card. You got a trucking company that works with you. You got a fleet gas card. But then I'm sure even with those companies, you still want a loan to grow or something, and you're going to go to your Bank of America or your credit unions. Those, they're gonna want to require the PG.
Makes sense. And also what I wanted to talk to you about, I really want to find like the balance, because like oftentimes in our minority communities, we feel like we have to struggle in order to say like we made it, or so like, can you talk about the balance between bootstrapping a company and, compared to finance a company and taking funding? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
So, I'm Jamaican, Caribbean background, and we was taught a way like, credit is bad, debt is bad, right? All of those type of things. And then, I used to challenge that, like, why? How's that bad? Like, what's going on? Then, you got to break that mold and realize, nah. Credit is the key to, growth and creating your wealth. Also, debt, there's good debt and bad debt, right? So you got to know that too. Now, when it comes to that balance overall, you have to, I used to ask people this question. If I gave, and I'm going to ask you this question right now. What would you rather? Would you rather make $50 million yourself, like grind and make it yourself, or me give you $100 million? Which one would you rather?
I'd rather you give me $100 million.
You'll be surprised how many people say, nah, I'd rather work, because then I work for it. Nobody can say they gave me and blah, blah. No, that's not how this world works. That's a mindset.
My pride ain't that high. I said my pride ain't that high. I'll take that easy.
So that's the key part that I like people to start off with, is that mindset of, no, the wealthy, they don't work hard for their money. They work smart for their money. They make money from their mind more so than from their hands. They hire people to make money from their hands for them, who made it from their minds, right? So that's like the first thing that we just got to know, you know, in that balance of trying to find funding is credit is good. And we should go out there and utilize it. Apple has $200 billion cash in the bank, and they still take out loans. Why? Because they know that other people's money is the way to go, right? And you can leverage it to make even more money, right? So that mindset shift is critical. It's like the first place that you got to start. And, you know, utilizing those strategies that the wealthy are using in order to grow their wealth, we got to make sure we adopt that too and learn the rules of the game.
Okay. So say, for example, boom, we have our young entrepreneurs, we have our small business owners listening. Is there ever an example, or is there ever, like, once we do get the funding, what type of behavior, like, how should we be moving with that money? Because that money needs to be used to produce assets. It needs to be used to produce more money and not the opposite. So can you talk about kind of like the responsibility of that money?
Yes, I love that you said that. It needs to be used to produce more assets. Your money should be working for you, right? You can't put money in the bank and be like, oh yeah, I just got the money sitting there earning less than 1% interest when inflation is 9.1%. Your money's being devalued immediately just sitting there. Right. So you have to find investments that are going to outwork inflation. You want your money being like a little army, bringing back more soldiers for you. You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
So that's critical. Yeah. The first thing that I like to do is, you know, in business itself, I want to make sure that I'm reinvesting money back into the business. So a certain percentage is going to come out for me as a distribution. A certain percentage needs to be going back into the business for growth. A certain percentage needs to be set aside for taxes, right? You do those things, then you're good to go. Now, of course, you want to then get more advanced and start looking at, you know, learning these strategies. Like when it came out that Donald Trump made, you know, he paid $700 taxes in like how many years, being a billionaire and whatnot.
Yeah, everybody was
it. But you know what I was like, oh, how'd he do it? How can I do it too? That was my thought process.
Come on now.
Right? And then you find out that, oh, he's just using laws that exist for his benefit.
That we don't know about. You know what I'm saying?
You ever heard of the 1031 exchange in real estate?
Yeah.
So 1031,
running up.
You can defer taxes because if you buy another piece of property of equal value or greater, you just roll it up and defer the taxes. Right? That's a simple trick that the wealthy have been using for decades now. Right? And we ain't know nothing about it. So that's why it's important to know the rules of the game and then just utilize it going forward.
Facts. So like, let's stay on that wave just a little bit longer. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you've seen, you know, coming up, you know, maybe that you've made, you know, from starting your own businesses in the past, or some of your friends, some of your, you know, entrepreneur buddies? Like, give us some of those biggest mistakes that you.
Yo, are you ready to hit your next level? Do you want to increase your drive, destiny, and dollars? Well, if so, check out my new book, From College to COVID, 24 Lessons Learned During the Lockdown, where I've compiled 5 of the biggest lessons I learned going from college to COVID to starting my financial literacy empire, FYFly, plus 19 lessons from your favorite entrepreneurs, entertainers, and athletes that have been featured on our show. There's literally something for everyone. So purchase your copy today at fyfly.com/From College to COVID. Let's go.
One of the biggest mistakes I say that people make is, you know, especially whatever they're about to get into. Let's say they at least made the good decision of buying like a mentorship, getting into a course or something, right? Let's say you're trying to get into e-commerce and then you got a course that talks about how to sell private label on Amazon FBA. You're going to learn how to sell private label on Amazon FBA. But some people are going to be more successful than other people. Why is that? Because those people know that there's other things that you need to also put into account. You need to figure out how you're going to fund it so you could grow. You need to have good credit so that you could use that to fund it so you're using OPM. You need to structure your business properly. You need to put process in place. You need to hire people and stop being a self-employed and go to being a business owner, right? You need to be able to scale with process, systems, and people. These things, Listen, my corporate career, when I was working for like Microsoft, I was working for Accenture, I had a pretty good corporate career.
Yeah.
And I was being pulled into Fortune 500 companies to help them to improve their process and make their teams more effective and the communication between global teams, you know, more efficient. So these huge companies was spending millions of dollars knowing that they needed to do that. So why would you think you don't need to start prepping from now when you start in your company? Because otherwise you're going to have to pay for it later.
That's a great point.
So that's critical. Get your affairs, do your things like legit. Get it in order from the beginning, because it's easier to keep the house clean than it is to go have to do a huge cleaning, right? So keep it clean from
100%.
now. Get your process in place. You know, get your taxes done right. Hire an attorney if you can, even just for small things initially. Do all those things up front that will help you in the long run.
Definitely, man. And one thing I want to touch on as well, I've heard you mention multiple times about a mentor. So can you talk about like why a mentor or someone of that, you know, stature is so important to getting you where you need to be?
That is critical. So I got these 4 principles of success, and it sounds, sometimes even I hear it and I'll be like, man, if somebody just heard it the first time, they may think it's fluff. But nah, every single thing related to it has been the key to my success. And the first principle is networking. You got to network, right? You got to get out there. It's not just who you know, but who knows you. Because, you know, I know Elon Musk, for example, but he don't know me, so it don't matter. Right? You know what I'm saying? You get my point? It's like, I know him, he don't know me, so how's that better? Yeah. Right? So you got to get out there. Network. Number 2, you got to leave some people behind, right? This is similar to when people say surround yourself with the right people. Surround yourself with 5 millionaires, you might become the 6th. Well, I actively say you got to leave some people behind, kick some people out of your life. You may love them, you know, family, close friends, but y'all not on the same journey. Snoop said it in a reel that I saw recently. I was like, that's what I've been saying. He said that, you know, a lot of times you leveling up and you get up to like here, and then you left these people down here, and then you want to help them and you want them to get up too. So what happens is too much, we come back down to bring them up. But then we sometimes get stuck here, and then we only bring up to about here. Now we you know, did a disservice to ourselves. You got to stay up here and show the path.
Happens a lot.
I'm climbing that mountain. I'm showing the way, where to step. But you got to, the other person got to step. They got to, you know, come up and catch up, right? So leaving some people behind is the second thing. The third one is buying seats at tables. This is where it comes to the core of your question and the mentors. You got to buy seats at tables. People expect, you know how many times I get people who send me a message and I try to answer everybody as much as possible, like on DMs, but they be like, hey, I just want to pick your brain. Hey, can I take you to lunch and we could talk and blah, blah. I'm like, I can't do that many lunches. And you think it's just you, one person, but there's like 1,000 people that's asking me the same thing. 1,000 people that's sending me a message saying, hey, can you give me a call? I have an idea. What the fuck? Bro, did you execute on your idea first? You know, I got consultation hours you could pay for. Like, you know, you have to be willing.
Hey, just give me a call.
You feel me? So you got to be willing to find yourself a mentor. Find the people who have been doing things that executed on where you want to be. And then go learn from them. Stop listening to the people who ain't where you want to be, who's telling you why you can or cannot do this and why you should or should do that. Nah, that's not the people who, they haven't accomplished what you're trying to accomplish. So how are you going to take advice from them? Right?
So that biggest benefit of that mentor is, you know, is shortening the time process, right? That it takes to get there.
Because you're seeing their mistakes, right? You see them, you still going to make mistakes. Don't get me wrong. And I think that's a misconception that people make. They think, oh, I got a mentor. Well, now I made this mistake. You should have let me know that was going to happen. Hey, I let you know the mistakes I've already made. There's still going to be more that you're going to make in your life, in your journey, but at least you get a head start. And that's critical. And just to wrap up the 4 pillars.
And it don't hurt us more as haters. Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say that it doesn't hurt as much. Like if a mentor is somebody who already done it, let us know about it. Then we see it and be like, okay, that's what he was talking about. But if we don't know about it, then we just gonna walk right into the fire.
There you go. You know how many times people tell me, well, I'll just Google it. Okay, well, Google only answers the questions that you know to ask it. And did you know that you could buy a business for no money out of your pocket? Maybe you didn't even know that existed, so how you would have asked the question on it. Okay, now you know it, that because Beez said it. But did you know that there's different ways to do it? Google ain't gonna tell you all of the ways because it's strategies that I've put together that I've had to go through, right? So, it's important to have a mentor. But that leads me to the fourth pillar of success is that you gotta, while you're buying your seats at tables and you left some people behind and you're networking while you're at those tables, build your own table too. You're gonna meet a bunch of people. Okay. Stop focusing just on the mentor. What about the other students and stuff that's in there? Network with them. Y'all gonna come up together. Y'all gonna build together. That's how you start. Nobody's, becoming the billionaires and whatnot completely by themselves. Whether it's a family member that gave them something, whether it's a business partner that they partnered on with something, or the mentor that they're learning from, whatever it is, you got to build with other people. So building your own table is definitely the fourth pillar of success. And over time, I added two more things, which is the foundation. So it's like a house, pillars, and then the foundation is financial literacy. This is why we on this podcast. Yeah. And the roof is always seeking new knowledge.
I love it. Being a lifelong learner. You know what I mean? I feel like that's so important, especially for our like high schoolers, college folks that's already graduated. We not being forced to stay in school and learn for 8 hours like we were in school. So being able to find that self-development is going to be critical for us. So let's go ahead and pivot a little bit because, man, this is FY Fly, a show about financial literacy, which is not only understanding how to budget your money, but actually being able to grow and manage your money effectively and efficiently. So our listeners want to know, like, give us some good money habits that you do, and then also give us any bad money habits if you have.
The first one I mentioned earlier, and I gotta go back to it, and that's you gotta be intentional about the strategies that you take. Meaning, why would you put money into the bank to just sit there, right? So you gotta calculate everything. So, okay, they giving me less than 1%. Yeah. But if I put some money in an index fund or something, and that's a better savings account, right? Yeah. The index fund gonna get you 8 to 10%, right? Maybe more, because if you do the S&P 500, the tech stocks, in the last 10 years, I'm getting 10 to 15% because of 2020. The tech stocks really bumped up more, right? So that's the first thing. Be very intentional about what you do with your money, so that you make sure it's growing the right way. Second thing is strategy overall with whatever business model you get into. Right. For example, a lot of people talk about Turo. Put your car on Turo and rent it out. Okay, let me tell you how I did it. I didn't just go in and be like, yeah, I'm going to go get a Lamborghini and just rent it out. No, I said, what market am I going to be in? What are they renting in that market? Because did you know that in Miami where I'm at, they love Lamborghinis, but they really love the ones that have the top down. So if I got the wrong one, it ain't gonna rent for as much.
Just or market research.
2, I'm gonna look at, okay, how much I'm not gonna buy it brand new because that's the stupidest mistake you could make unless it's something that never existed before. Like I did get the Ford Mach-E brand new because it just came out, and I got a couple electric vehicles because it just came out, right? But I want to get something that's like at least 3 years old. Why? Most of the depreciation already happens in the first 3 years, right? So now I got something, the most cost-effective way to acquire it, and I want to make sure that it it rents per day for at least 1/3 of the cost of my car note. Whatever rules you want to come up with your rules and stick to them. So my rule is it has to be rent for at least 1/3 of the car note. Why? Because when it rents out for a weekend for 3 days, the car note's covered. The rest of the month, I'm getting profit, right? Yeah. Then before I buy that car too, I'm also looking how much does that car depreciate in 6 years. Why? Because I want to exit in 6 years on that car. So I'm going to get it at the best price. I'm going to rent it out for the best rental price because it's covering my car note. And I'm going to exit in 3 years and I'm going to exit at the best price too. Yeah. Right? Now, sometimes you also got to pivot. Yeah. I had a bunch of cars that I had that was not at the 3-year mark yet. But because right now the car market is extremely high, you could sell your cars and get equity in it and make money off of it. I liquidated a bunch of cars, right? Because that's a better play for me. So that's critical. Everything has to be evaluated. Everything has to be
an opportunity.
Don't just do stuff and not pay attention. Every morning I wake up, too many people, first thing they pull up, their phone is right there in bed. First thing they pull up is Instagram. First thing I pull up, my credit reports and my bank accounts. Oh, wait, what's this charge?
Yeah.
How many times you didn't look at something and months later you would find out, damn, I've still been paying for that Netflix subscription. I thought I canceled it or whatever, right? So you have to put effort into your finances and know what's going on in your finances and budget and be strategic with every decision you make.
100%, man. That's some great game right there. That's some great game. Being intentional about your money, being strategic is key, because if you don't put that effort into it, it's not going to get better. It's not just going to magically get better. And even if you wind up, getting a raise or getting paid more, getting a new job, you could still be living paycheck to paycheck because you're not managing, you're not being intentional with your finances. So I know you saw that latest quote about like six figure makers, revenue makers are like living paycheck to paycheck. I think it was what, 60%? A six-figure revenue makers that are living paycheck to paycheck.
I have to harp on that too, because that's another really, financial tip that I got to give people. You have to understand your numbers, right? Because you could be a six-figure revenue maker. That's your top line. That's your six-figure gross revenue. That's not the money in your pocket. So if you're in an industry that has a low profit margin, you need to know that, right? Because I bought I was looking at a business to buy that was, and I'm gonna make up the numbers just to show you the kind of ratios, but let's say it was generating revenue of $12 million a year. Okay. But yet the EBITDA, which is like your net profit overall after all expenses and everything is paid, was like $300,000. I was like, what? Okay. That's insane. That's a stupid profit margin. Why would I get into that? Or I at least need to know more of what's going on, because maybe there's certain things I can do with it, but I need to be very intentional. So stop listening when people talk about, you can make $5 million too. Yeah, but how much of that you keeping? I need to know that too, so I know if this is the right business model for me to get into.
Yeah, facts.
Yes, sir.
Facts. It's not about how much you make. It's about how much you can keep.
For real.
In personal finance and business. Facts. So I got one more question for you, boss man. I'm gonna read you two quotes, and I need you to tell me which one is more accurate in your opinion. All right. All right, bet. So the first question is, or the first quote is, "More money, more problems," like Biggie. And then the second one is, "Money can't buy happiness."
I'd have to say the second.
Which one do you think is more accurate in your opinion?
Because I don't really believe more money, more problems.
Okay.
I believe more money, different problems. We just have a different set of problems that come up. People think you don't got no problems, but you do. And I think Biggie was really trying to say, nah, I got more new problems. Yeah. I think that's more so what he was trying to say. All right. But the other quote, say the quote again. Let me make sure I'm getting it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Money can't buy happiness.
Because honestly, you could, the new set of problems you're going to come up with, what if somebody's suing you? What if the IRS after you? Boy, you ain't going to be happy. You know what I'm saying? It's not about the money that's making you happy. For me, I know what makes me happy is my time wealth, not my financial wealth, because time wealth is freedom. Okay. So money becomes a tool to get to my happiness, but it wasn't the money that made me happy. The time made me happy.
Gotcha. Man, thank you so much for coming on and dropping gems and dropping this information on the FY Fly podcast, man.
Yeah,
let them know
sure.
where to
so
reach
listen,
if you got any final words for them.
Beez, again, Business Builder Beez, Business Buyer Beez. But you can find me on IG at Business Builder Beez. Make sure you don't have no S in there, like Business Builders Beez, because there's some scam pages out there that's trying to, I don't know why they be going so hard with those, man. And people shouldn't be falling for that. I will never ask you, hey, hit me up on WhatsApp. Nah, I don't got no time for you to hit me up like that. So, don't fall for those things. But yeah, find me on Instagram, find me on TikTok, 12-Figure Beez, find me on LinkedIn. Listen, I bet you most people don't say LinkedIn, right? But find me on LinkedIn because I'm a professional. I got a professional background.
LinkedIn, where
teaching things that I just learned last year. I actually have training on it. I got certifications. So find me on LinkedIn. My first name is really Bjorn. It's a Swedish name, even though I'm Jamaican. So Bjorn Hendricks, Bjorn Beez Hendricks. You can find me on LinkedIn. But yeah, just holler at me anytime. And, you know, I'm happy to help. I just want more people in our community, especially talking about buying businesses and executing on it. Let's go.
Thanks. Big key to execution, man. Thank you so much. This was amazing. And for everybody listening, like we talked about today, not just learning, but applying and executing. So I'm gonna need everyone to stay safe, stay invested, and stay FY Fly. We'll see y'all next.
Thank you all for listening to FY Fly, the podcast, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Tune in next week for more financial literacy insights with our special guest. Please visit our website, social media platforms, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at FYI Fly Podcast. That's FYI FLI Podcast. See y'all next week and stay fly.